It's the Dirty Overall Rock Show.
You need a fucking flare or something over there?
My
There's
God.
a delay, remember?
There's a digital delay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. This is Dirty Overhaul Rock Show, and I am so happy tonight because we got we got Bill Cox. We got two people in here that I've been wanting to get on this show forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Charlie Lilly and Mr. Todd Smith from Black Glass
Together
in the house
again.
tonight. Oh, and now Todd's being paged by Ronnie Rogers. Says, "Get off that show! Get off that show now!
You better believe it, baby.
Get off that show, Danny! You're killing us."
This is payback for Ronnie. He was on here.
Oh
and
yeah.
dogged me.
Oh, Ronnie's in trouble tonight. Yeah, we played.
Tonight is your night.
Oh,
we
yeah.
played New Year's Eve, and my girlfriend put some eyeliner on me, and all night,
Oh,
all
yeah.
I heard was TK, TK,
Oh, I
TK.
call it DB Rocks.
Yeah, that was it, DB Rocks.
DB Rocks.
And I was like, yeah, because TK invented that.
Yeah, and then I told this guy was there. He said, "What's up with Dave, man? What's his new look?" I said, he looks like a midget, TK. Less talent. I had you on a couple times, but just audio, and one of the most famous times is when we'll stroll down memory lane just a tad. Is one night we were at After Hours and we were doing. You guys were doing a benefit, yeah, but not on the show. It's called for the people. So so that night you want to walk us down what happened? Seems like you guys were having a benefit or some kind of
I
get
think
together.
that was a Dirty Surprise
reunion show.
That was
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
on a Sunday night.
And
That's
we went and did a live broadcast, and
Yeah.
you seemed to be plagued that night by
Yeah, we had a special guest. That
you had a very special guest.
Well, all the A-listers were there.
Yeah, and a
they
couple
were
of the D-listers.
Yeah, that was a special night. That was with the famous Mr. Billy Creason.
Billy
was
Joe
there.
Creason,
Yeah, Billy the Crash.
Crash.
Yeah. Billy the Crash Creason.
There you go.
And
Yes.
you said that, well,
Every time I turned around, there he was. I'm like, I gotta quit fucking turning around.
He's like a fucking ninja.
God dang, what the hell?
you said earlier Mr. Chris Farrell had already said
Yeah, it
something.
already gets up.
Had already had a heart-to-heart.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's
that worked.
that's the thing though, man, about around this area is like we have a fantastic group. You know, that's what makes it fun. You know,
Absolutely.
And you can bump into anybody anywhere. I mean,
Right.
Charlie, I spent my birthday with down in After Hours.
Yeah,
Did y'all make out?
We was hugging and a kissing and a hugging.
That was him and my wife. I wasn't.
Yeah, she wasn't there. So
And
you had
then
to do
I'm
something.
going into Walmart one day and I hear somebody go, "Dave!" And I turn around and look and there's Todd sitting in his car. He's driving by and he stopped
rock
traffic
stars
going, "Hey
go to
man, what's
Walmart?"
going on?" And
I go
he had his window replaced for like the 15th time.
That other time I bumped into you was at that dealer's. Oh, never mind.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know.
You had to go
I
get
thought
a
it was the
twin.
glory hole.
Different time.
Well, yeah, they bumped into it all right.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 times.
It was one of these bumps.
So Charlie, we'll start with you and let's get some of your background. I think what was it like in the middle '90s when I first met you? You were with Jimmy Nolan's band.
No, the first time I ever met you was I was with playing with the band Split Decision.
Oh,
We had
exactly.
never-
I'm sorry.
We
Yeah,
had
you're
never
right.
done a show out before.
You're right. Yeah.
And Mike Connolly gave us a shot
And
at the show.
the reason, I mean, your vocals were awesome, your show was awesome, but I remember they had a female bass player.
Yes.
And I was like,
awesome.
oh shit, that stands out.
Yeah,
you know?
she was really good singer too. But
Yeah.
we went, and I was nervous as crap, never performed in front of people, other than just sitting, in the garage and stuff. So
Yeah.
Mike Connolly told me, he said, well, you want to come and see the best front man, come see Fair Warning play.
And-
So that was the first
oh,
time I met you.
shit.
I was sitting there, and I'd never really been out drinking in Thomasville up before, and I sat down and had a Rolling Rock. I'll never forget that. So I
And
had a
then
Rolling
you went
Rock,
downhill
taking
ever
notes,
since.
taking notes.
Snorting
Yeah.
Percocets.
That's the only reason he
Yeah.
thought I was good.
But that was the first time I met you. And of course,
Yeah.
I got really acquainted with you through Paradox 6.
Yeah,
because you were
yeah.
friends
That's
with all
when,
those guys.
yeah, Jimmy Nolan and I think all of us here, well, except for Dave, hasn't actually played in a band, but we had some guys on. What was it? We had the 6 Degrees of Jimmy Nolan. A couple
Oh,
weeks
yeah.
ago. We're like, oh, you played with him in this.
Yeah.
Jimmy's been around.
Yeah, because
God.
when we had Red here.
Oh,
he
that
had
was it.
Jordan.
Yeah, that was it. Red. Yeah, both of those guys.
Yeah.
Jordan had been replaced in the
Steel
one band
Horse.
by Red.
Yep.
So they were like, "Oh, I took the
Yeah.
job when you left," and then
Yep.
yeah, it's weird, man. But
I did a brief
I've been
stint
in a
with
band
him.
with him, too.
oh yeah, exactly.
That is true.
I was in one with him too.
Oh yeah, Larry, our producer,
There we
was
go.
also.
Hey.
Yeah, Jimmy was the first guy I met when I moved to North Carolina. I was going to these karaoke things like bowling alleys just to get to play because I didn't know anybody here. And I saw an ad, and I think the first person I met was Slade and Jimmy when I walked in,
Yeah.
and then
Awesome.
the rest is
Yeah,
history.
And we saw a lot of people last night at the
Oh,
viewing
my God,
for,
man.
which, by the way, is on a side note. We'll talk more about it later.
They
but, you
said
know,
they had at last night's count over 2,000 people were there at Riders.
man.
It was there was so many people when I got there. I got there early, and there was people lined out the door all the way down the parking lot. Like, I mean, I never seen so many people.
They said been like that since 2 o'clock, and I got there after 6.
I swear they told me 4,000.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
really?
Yeah.
Well, I heard. Well, that was surreal, man, surreal.
Yes, really it was. And they had him right there in front of the stage. Of course, on my side. So every time we play there now, that's all I'm going to see is that casket.
That was rough, man. Rough.
So,
Yeah, I know you
Just
had a
goes to show.
long-standing relationship with him.
19 years, man.
As soon as I seen it, you're the first person I thought of. So I was like,
My phone started ringing at 8:30 Friday
everybody's
morning.
asking what
Soon
the
as that
deal
happened.
is with the viewing and what the deal with the funeral arrangements.
I'm
He's
like-
like, you know, he's not my real daddy. Right?
they were people coming up to me and they were like, "I'm so sorry about your daddy." And my dad died in 2000. I'm like, okay, yeah, but I understood, you know.
right.
I'm probably more associated with him and Jackie. You know, everybody always thought Jackie. You know,
I would have thought Jackie would have been there.
no, he didn't make it. But yeah, it was rough. But anyway, getting back to to Charlie, the Paradox thing.
Paradox thing.
And it ran its course, and then you went to that's when Dirty Surprise.
Actually, I went and played in a little band called Halo for a little while. Donald Coons' band.
I don't
We played
remember
that
that
for a
one.
while. I forgot about that one. I posted the other day. Yeah. Played with him for a while. And I had met Todd. I didn't really meet him. I just played with him one day at Conley's when he was with the 5
Oh, I'd heard about Todd forever.
I
I
played
never
with
got to
5
see
One
him.
band. I got up and done I think it was Faithfully with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And then one night with the Paradox 6, yeah, because you guys were all friends with Suzanne and Philip and them.
Oh,
Come
yeah,
out,
yeah.
And he would get up and jam with us some too. And then I went and seen him play with 5 to 1 a lot after that. And I was like, man, I told him then, I was like, man, if I was to ever start a band, it'd be cool to have a keyboard rhythm player that can sing too, so he can do all this
Yeah,
stuff.
we thought
And
that
it just
too.
it worked out.
At one
It really
Jimmy
worked
Henson
out.
thought differently, but
Yeah. Man, you know, these guys got a great memory because me and you tried to remember shit. I mean, half the
we
time,
can't even remember
he'll
what we,
start telling the story.
Well,
Man, there was this time that we did this. I said, yeah, I know, I was in the
Yeah.
band. And he
every
said,
time
you was in the band,
every
man?"
time I tell a story, I'm like, Dave, we was playing in rock wherever. He's like, I know, I was there, and I'm like, oh shit,
But
that
these
is
guys
right.
are rattling on shit and remember. Yeah. This is what it's like when you know, eat healthy and have
Oh,
a good
yeah, you don't
memory
eat
and
3 hot dogs from
Yeah,
Sheets.
and
at
George
5 in the
Ryder's
morning.
hot
We
dogs.
don't do drugs, just like the way they smell.
Yeah.
I'll never
Oh
forget
god.
that. That's hilarious.
You know, the one thing Brian says, he says there's a lot of people that rip me off over the years, but at least
Charlie is the only one
that
who
owns up
ever
to it.
gave me. We walked into Big Al's treehouse one night. Me and Dave, one of the rare nights that he got
this
away
guy.
from his love. But so we walk in, and this guy is putting on wigs and putting on capes and shit,
Wardrobe changes.
and walking around and everything that I've ever said,
Yeah.
And I mean, I was like, oh my God, man, he's doing it in front of me. And then Dave was like, yeah, be cool, man. So, what is that? The most sincere form of flat. I was like, I was going out of my fucking mind. And then I was like, Charlie's the only one that said, hey, man. And I respect you for that, you know. I mean, not that I came up with it. I ripped it off from David Lee Roth. But, but if you're going to steal from
That's
somebody,
what I say.
steal from, you know.
He's out on the West Coast.
Exactly. That don't count.
But
It's
I mean,
Thomasville.
haven't you ever said, "Wow, look at that guy in the video. You know, that's cool. You know, I like the way that guitar player, you know, does this or does that." But there are people around here that go see other bands and they go, "Hey, that works. I'll steal that." I'm like, haven't you ever seen a music video?
Oh, they learned that song. They learned that song. You know,
Haven't
hell,
you ever been
I
alive
can't
in the
rip Ronnie
80s?
off or Charlie because they sing too fucking high, which pisses me off.
I just
But,
recently, ripped Todd's bass player off New Year's Eve. Obviously.
well, you're DB Rocks. You changed his name.
But you know, I've said this before. TK was one of the few people that called me up after I had my surgery and made sure I was okay and everything. 'Cause he's that kind of person.
Well, Ronnie and him. I mean, I've seen Black Glass with Todd once, and with the older guitar player, and
Yeah.
I mean they always were very friendly. Ronnie is always very friendly to me, you know, and I think as far as vocals and frontman, I mean Ronnie is like so far above anybody else. I mean
He got a
he's
range
got
that's
one of the
unreal.
best voice, yeah, and he does.
I mean, everything on the set list that you can think of, not just your set list, but on any list that you can think of, from Bon Jovi all the way up to, doing a little Jane. But
That was it was funny because Debbie mentioned me one time about us doing a show together, and I was like, Debbie, I said, you realize how close our set lists are. Now we did do some stuff like
We did some 90s
Avenged
rock
Sevenfold.
stuff.
Yeah.
We did some Avenged Sevenfold and stuff like that.
Right.
But overall, it was a lot of the same stuff.
Well, when the
But
Dirty
see, when the
Surprise,
keyboard come in,
yeah,
their set list is expanded huge.
exactly. It
And
adds
that's
a whole.
why I said before, when I met him and seen Todd, I was like, man, I'd love to have that. And so as soon as I decided to start a band, I mean, he was the first person I thought of. But he was loyal. He was with somebody, and he said, I can't right now. But
Yeah,
later on, it worked out.
Loyalty can work against you too.
But that just made me appreciate him more.
Speaking of starting bands, I usually ask everybody this: what was it, or what band, what album was it? Where you were at, in whether it was the '80s, '70s, whatever, where you saw some band or heard some band and said, "That's what I want to do. I want to start playing. I want to start singing. I want to do that for a living, or I want to do it on weekends, whatever it was." Who was it that saw you, that really moved you and made you do what you did?
Man, this is going to sound. Some people may say
I bet
cheesy
you I know
because I'm
before
on
you're
this
gonna
show.
say it.
I mean, I never have grown up in a preacher's home and all that. I
Yeah.
never really went to concerts and all that. And when I was just playing with just for fun with Split Decision, and when we decided to start playing that once in a while, might give us a chance. I mean, I went to sing Fair Warning. I followed them everywhere after that. I mean, and then he introduced me to Jackie and Todd and them 5 to 1, and that was really as far as for me, that would be my answer. The Fair Warning 5
For
to 1.
local-
And sometimes it is a local band.
For local, for me, it was Jackie.
Now, as I grew
when I
into
saw
the music
Jackie,
scene,
I was like,
What about you, Todd? Who was it that you saw or heard and said, "Oh wow, it opened up doors"? I mean, one minute I'm listening to Hall & Oates,
He's gonna
and then
say
somebody
he's gonna
popped
say
something in
Journey,
front of
I
me
know.
and went, "Ooh."
See, I would guess somebody different than him. And the reason I say this, a lot of the guys that I've talked to that play their style of music, there's one band that most of the guys mentioned, so I'm curious to see what he says.
I always consider myself just a radio person.
Yeah.
For a long time, I was an at-home musician, and we'll get more about me later. But Journey Escape was the album that made me go from being just a generic radio person to knowing the name of the band, knowing all the names of the band members.
yeah, remember back in the day when you had to search for all that shit? You had to buy magazines. You
Yeah.
know,
I was reading album credits.
Metal Edge,
and
Circus,
Circus.
Hit Parader.
Yeah, if
It's
you wanted
funny
to
when
see
I ask
who
a lot of
who
hair
produced
guys
what
that
album,
play
you
like
had to
that,
actually
it's
buy
most
the
of
album.
90% of them was Kiss. That was their
That was
Kiss.
that was mine too.
People love Kiss, you know.
And we talked about this a little bit earlier. First album you ever bought, first rock album.
First rock album I ever bought was a cassette tape by LA Guns.
LA
Oh.
Guns, really?
Funny story. I was 18 years old. Never heard of LA Guns or rock music in my
Well,
life.
you were in a church, like you
Yeah,
said.
grew up in church, and I worked part time for a loan service in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the guy I worked for, he loved AC/DC. They were putting on a big show.
87 maybe.
88, probably 87, 88, yeah. And they had about 10 guys going to see AC/DC, Damn Yankees, Bad Company, and LA Guns
Wow.
outside
Wow.
venue on July 3rd now.
Wow, that's pretty
And
cool.
it was during Desert Storm, so it might have been 90. I can't remember. It was during Desert Storm.
89.
And they needed a driver, and they said, "We'll buy your ticket." And I drove them, and buddy, I got
You
I got a whole new education
You
today.
got
The
a
LA
school,
Guns
yeah.
opened up, and I was because we wouldn't have the place hadn't filled up yet. I walked all the way down there, man. I just loved them, and I went and bought them.
Yeah,
And
we
how
opened up
cool
for
is
them
it?
at the.
How cool is it that years later I got to open up for them twice?
Oh, you
That's
did?
cool.
And
Yeah,
hang
we
out
did
with them.
one.
That was so cool. Yeah.
What about you, Todd?
I grew up with two parents who were teenagers in the 50s.
Yeah.
So
The music was probably a part of
music
your life.
has been a part of my life from day one, as far back as I can remember. Dad, Mom, both Elvis. Dad, Fred Kramer,
Oh,
Shirley
God,
Lewis.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he played by ear. So he started working with me on the piano very young. So I later
That's one
switched over
thing
to
that I always
drums.
wish.
They say the best players play by ear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like Kevin, we were talking earlier, joking about, but that cat can listen to something, man, and just, you know, phenomenal player.
So, in the list of instruments that you play, because I know obviously you play guitar, obviously you play some
Of
keyboards.
course, you know what I'm going to
What-
say, though. But go ahead.
That's why his name is second on the name list.
Starts with 4.
What are some other instruments that you play?
Also play drums, and I can play bass.
Wow.
Because I heard him say drums just a second.
He's a one-man
I got a
band.
kid in the back room.
Yeah, our guitar
Um,
player actually thinks he can play drums, too. Thinks.
I played the radio once.
Yeah. I was going to, well, I'm not going to use my
You
flute.
tried the harmonica?
No, that's Billy's department.
Yeah.
Bring it
Oh,
up
there it
for
goes.
a
It's
race.
out there.
There it is.
It's out there.
Shots fired.
Bring
Shots
it up,
fired.
train.
Order in the court.
Good deal, man.
Bring it up for a reason.
I'm trying to be sweet now. I'm trying to.
I've
Be
I
nice to all
did
bands.
I did a little something. I
out.
go out to like thrift stores and Goodwills and places like that, and I like to call this little segment Goodwill Hunting. And I went and found this little
Are you
piece.
serious?
No,
I
it's
found
not.
this
He's
little
rich
piece
today.
today.
I was waiting for him to pull up a dirty surprise
Oh,
t-shirt.
yeah,
No, but I'm looking. But
I'll
I
bring
had
you
one in
one.
the house.
When Dave first joined our band, he was wanting to know what songs to learn, you know, to come and audition. He found our CD at the pawn shop.
he says, "Yeah, do this. We'll get you a CD." I'm like,
I've
got
already
one.
got one.
and I'm like, "Where'd you get it?" I said, "I paid $1.50 for it at the pawn shop."
Well, did you feel some change hit you?
Yeah, in the back, I sure did. So every now and then I'll go in and I got a
Our
box somewhere
first
with a bunch of
album
other,
went
but I've got like
double
some toys.
I
know exactly. But I've got a bunch of old bands.
I got 1 million of them.
You know. And I've heard
First
every
album
one of
went
these.
He's heard every one of them 1,000 times.
But
album
but
went
every,
aluminum.
yeah, if you guys ever go into Goodwill, if you find some old band shirts, we plug them up. And hang
I
'em
went
up.
one time. I went to the one in Thomasville, and that's when Kevin was playing with us, and I found a Full Tilt T-shirt. 'Cause
Yeah.
He used to be in Full Tilt back in the day, and
I used
he's
to go
like,
to
"Oh
Bathroom
man,
with
did you buy it?"
Joe's.
I was like, "I was too fat. Why
That
would
was
I wear it?"
He had a short stint with By God, didn't he?
Who?
They
By
were in the
God.
same band.
Steve Arnold.
Kevin?
Yeah. My God.
Yeah, I don't know if they at the same time, but
Well,
Steve
I
said he was in
I'm
Full
a
Tilt.
Steve Arnold.
No, Steve was the sound person in Full Tilt.
Okay, well I thought he
He
said
didn't
he
play
played
in Full
drums
Tilt.
because he said he was in the band, and I thought
No, he's a light guy or something.
Why
So-
does he keep holding up a finger?
We got 1 minute till we take our first break.
Okay.
See, this is, you know,
Hey,
you guys signed on
this
for the
is
real
pretty-
deal.
this
man.
We can't afford a damn clock.
professional.
This is professional, man. I'm not used to this.
We're not either.
Yeah, we're not either. That's why every
Trust me, I've
time.
been doing it for a while and they're still not used to it.
Yeah, every
We
week.
used
is
to have a
like-
monitor
Look at
right
me,
here.
What's that mean?
Are
He
these
would
the
put
same
stuff
kind of
up
breaks
on
for
the
taking the band? Oh no, just
Yeah,
okay.
we'll be right back.
Yeah,
We
we'll
got time
come
to
back.
do you one
We
more.
got time to do one more
Yeah,
before we bring the band back on.
but when we come
Tracy
back,
Jaeger bombs.
when we come back, we'll go some more and find out about Charlie's influences, and we'll find out Todd's. Well, we also know Todd, so you know
That's right.
Todd's a journeyman from way back. But we'll find out how you two guys, you know, came together.
Oh, it makes it
and-
sound dirty, doesn't it?
Yeah, they
Came
were.
together.
Came
Yeah,
together.
Right
come
now.
together.
It's called tummy sticks.
Over me.
Yeah, we'll be right back, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
you're supposed to
after
say it this way. You're watching the dumb.
this. Dirty old hole.
That's right.
are back.
We are back. We're joking and smoking and joking. And doing Xanax right here on the Dirty Overhaul Rock Show.
Charlie's eating all the evidence.
Yeah, Charlie went to prison, ladies and gentlemen, a few years ago.
But he slept on his stomach, so.
Hey, Danielle, can you see up my shorts now?
Yeah, she's like But
switch seats.
Now we
No,
know,
we're good.
Now we know right now, Todd, you're in Black Glass, which is probably one of the top bands in North Carolina. Period. And Charlie has been in several great bands, including Jacked Up and Dirty Surprise and several bands. But at the time, let's talk about the time that you guys came together. How did that? Because Charlie said he saw you in a band and said, "I got to get that guy."
I hadn't been with 5 to 1 long. I had actually, to back up, I actually had quit playing music altogether for about 10 years.
Wow.
And just didn't want to do
You
it.
got tired of the bullshit?
I was a drummer in a country rock band with my dad, actually.
Wow, the drummer.
Southwind.
Oh,
was the
okay.
name. We were playing back in King. It was the Music Palace. That's what it was called.
Yeah,
Music
that was
Palace.
Mount Airy. Yeah, we played there many times.
That's when it was still in King before those two guys had their split. And then
Yeah.
the Music Palace went to Mount Airy, and King became
The Country Corral.
Country Corral.
Yeah, we were there last weekend.
So after
Yeah.
being away for 10 years, I'm like, I'm ready to get back into it. Didn't know anybody else. Went to King, and the first band I saw was Fair Winter.
What?
Yes.
You guys are old, man.
And I was surprised at how many songs you guys were playing were still what I knew and what I'd heard, and people still wanted to listen to that. A couple of months later, I go back, you guys are there again, and that's when I run into Gary and Sam Harris.
Oh, yeah.
They were my neighbors across from my mom and dad's house for many, many years.
Really?
Yes, so that's how I knew them. I'd go over there every night and jam
Ain't it
with
a
them.
small world how this guy knows this guy and this?
So when they see me in King, they asked me, "Are you playing any with anybody?" I'm like, "No," but I'm wanting to get back in a band. And it was like a month later, I was in 5 to 1.
Yeah.
So we start there.
Now,
Tour.
and that it was Sam.
Gary and Sam, Keith on guitar.
Oh, yeah, Keith,
Greg
Jackie.
on drum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I remember that.
So one of the venue, my first show was Cripple Creek, but it was known as John's
God.
Tavern.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Well, it was fun though, man, back in the day.
Yeah, that was, they had the big hole in the right beside the stage.
Yeah.
You could see down into the ground. And
We're in
a little
Thomasville
dressing
at
room right beside the
Conley's,
stage.
and Mike gets Charlie up to sing faithfully. That's the first night I met him.
Yeah.
It was funny because when I really approached him about, hey, I'm thinking about starting a band, he wasn't actually. You wasn't. He was with
No,
Mike
year and a
Monroe,
half.
wasn't it? He
Year
was
and a
playing
half
with him.
after I left 5 to 1, did some stuff with Jimmy Nolan and Phillip with Paradox.
Yeah.
6. We try to get that going.
So you guys were in Paradox, but not at the same
not
time.
at the same time.
That's
And
another
then
small world.
It ended up being me and Phillip together.
We saw him last night too.
with Randy Watson and Mike Watson briefly.
Oh yeah.
Long
Oh.
shot.
That's who it was. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we needed a guitar player, and Mike Monroe came
Now
along.
where's he at? I haven't seen him in a
He's
while.
big in the church now.
He's
Oh,
at home,
okay.
him and his wife and kids.
That's cool.
So then after that was when Charlie
That was when I approached
me
him,
about
and
Dirty Surprise.
And he was like, "Well, not now. I'm with this band." And it wasn't. I forget how long it was after that. I had.
You had to sweet talk my wife.
Yeah. And he
sweet
come up to
talked
me
a
and
lot
he
of
said,
people's
"I'm
wives.
ready." And then
I was ready.
And then I talked to her, and she was.
Yeah,
was
what
all
Mama
for
said
it. It
goes,
was,
so.
it was on. Yeah.
That's wild, man.
And it just he got really better and better. But it was just amazing how the transition, bringing the keyboard and guitar player and that other vocal in, man, was just.
Well, when Dirty Surprise first started out, though, it's like you guys were playing the best of like the older style and a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
We
So
had
you
classic
guys had-
rock and modern
Yeah,
rock.
so you were able to do that
Yeah.
because all
Right.
the influences you had,
Right.
and you guys just blew up, and you had like everybody in the band had kind of like their own little following too, right? You had
Yeah.
Ben,
Right.
and especially around Thomasville, everybody
That's
knew
what
you guys.
helped us be successful as far as the bars, because it wasn't whether you're a better band than another band.
It's just
we had a
everybody knew.
following. We
Yeah.
had a following, and it helped. You know, that telling you, That's why I always said I was so blessed to meet so many good people and friends too,
Yeah.
to do that.
It helps to
Awesome.
have a good singer and a good entertainer.
Yeah, a great
Yeah,
singer.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I wasn't a singer. I was an entertainer. I
The
was a
heck with
singer.
that. No,
Yeah, I'd make a
do that.
career out of
Otherwise,
that.
I mean, we've seen a lot of bands. We go see them. They look like they're just mannequins in the store window.
And
Yeah.
and that's why I've said it now. And I'm not doing this just because it's your show. I've always give him credit. I
I'll
always
pay
told
you.
him.
Oh, yeah.
I'll pay you
I
later.
mean, you got that bump? No,
Food
sorry.
stamp.
No, it was entertaining. I mean, it was just that's the first thing I learned from him was, man, couldn't remember much of nothing except the fact that he included me in the show.
Uh-huh.
He was all over the place. He had fun. I was like, man, if I do it,
I've
that's
been
the way
in-
I want to be.
You
But
never knew
when I
where it
was-
was going to be.
When I was
Yeah.
coming up though, like I had been in so many bad bands, where you got like maybe a good guitar player and the rest of the band's terrible, or you got a good drummer. I had to
Mhm.
overcompensate. I had to put all the attention, on me. And when I moved to North Carolina, it worked so good because
Yeah.
I was already trained. You know what I'm saying? So I can take. And then when you get a good band behind you and a good front man, it's like
It makes your job so much
Yeah,
easier. I don't care because
exactly.
I'm literally there's no put on. I'm having fun.
exactly.
I am
Yeah.
having fun, and it's accented by a phenomenal band behind
Exactly.
you. And that's
Vernon came to see us one time, and he said the thing I like about you guys is you don't mail it in. He said, even if there's 50
Even though we're
people
on
in the
stage,
room.
like, oh,
And there has been 50 people in the room.
Well, that's Todd will tell you. There's nights where I was like, I don't know if I could even talk, let alone sing.
Oh God!
And,
then
you
when
know,
you start
And that
adrenaline,
first note hits, and when you're in a good band, man, I'm telling you,
People come
that's
running
to
up
me. That
to
was
the
what
stage,
got me over.
that's
Energy
awesome.
And then
when you got people in front of
you got people come up there, and they don't realize how important that is.
and a lot of times those people, I mean, maybe they've worked hard all that week, and they're like, man, I got to go out and see the boys. And you can't just sit up and say,
Nope.
I'm sick, I can't sing. They
Yeah.
don't want to hear
Yeah.
that shit.
Right.
That's like if you went and saw Aerosmith, and you're like, man, what the, this
Yeah.
guy's not even, he's just going through the motions.
Steve
Now-
Arnold told me one time, he says, I can sit at home and listen to a CD. He says, I want
Right.
to be entertained.
That's right.
And don't
Exactly.
you?
Yeah,
I still
that's what it
love the
does.
live experience too, man. I mean, even when it's bad, I mean, we sit there and go,
Now,
And it's sad.
Good
that's
Lord.
Speaking of live experiences, I mean, everybody here has played, and
We have.
you go out on Friday nights now. If you're playing somewhere on Friday night,
unless you're black glass, there's
It's
nobody
going-
there.
Friday nights have really
Terrible.
gone away.
Everywhere.
Everybody's sitting at home or they're Netflixing or whatever. Now, have you, for example, Todd, and I'm sure Charles, you've probably seen it too. People, their faces lit up in the crowd and they're doing this on their phones.
Yeah.
How do you guys handle that?
What do? You just go.
I mean,
don't
do you,
play
do you
anymore,
make a
so,
smart remark?
No, I just
I
Just
go
be
out-
funny.
I go
Because he
out and take
will.
a selfie. Yeah, I go out and I'm like, I hate to bother you. Hey, how you doing, baby? And she's like, what? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, I'll go up behind her and like, if you want to get something, get this. And and then like you said, you make them a part of it,
Right.
and then they're like, oh shit, I like these guys. You know what I'm saying? So
Brian
I'm
used to
gonna
have
go
to tell
blow
them if
Dave.
they had a pole in front of the stage, he would used to say, if you have a penis, you
Oh, I
get
did
off of
that
the
this
pole.
past week. Yeah, we had a dude, man, like because I bring the chicks on the stage during Crazy Bitch usually, and this dude's up there, man, like just wasn't he?
He's just holding his hand.
He's just
like
holding
he's
his
got a mic.
hand like this, and he stayed there for like 5 songs,
Screaming.
one
trying
after
to
another,
sing
like,
above what we're
pointing like he's performing. Like I said,
Elvis.
if you have a penis, get off the stage. And finally, he got off, and I said,
And then this other guy comes to the front of the stage, and after he screamed it like 3 dozen times,
"Oh God!"
he got
gravity.
he tore a piece of paper and wrote it down and just went and showed it to everybody. He's like, gravity, gravity.
Gravity. I'm like, "What are you saying?"
And I looked at Rodney at break and I said, if that guy says gravity one more time, please throw him out
Don't
of
you-
here.
Well, you guys don't have to deal with that. I mean, but our fan base, I love them, man. I really do. But we get some doozies.
But they crossed
we
the
did with
line.
Dirty Surprise. The only thing I didn't like about it was, what people don't understand, I think, especially when they get to drinking and they don't know anything about music, they don't realize the money that these guys have in their equipment.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, you know what one speaker costs to replace. Or
Oh
what,
yeah.
One,
And they're up here with a beer bottle around us.
One night at Sidelines, there was an incidental fight happened. Knocked his keyboards over, and I know. I mean, and they don't realize that. And plus, the next weekend you got to have it fixed, so you got to come out of money and fix that. And that's why I don't like. That sometimes, I've had to get a little rough with people before.
Jimmy Henson's
Get off
You
the
ever
damn
had the
stage.
problem that Todd had with his windows before? You ever
You ever had your car broke into?
One time, yeah,
Really?
He did it twice at the same bar, didn't he?
No, it was in
I was like a
Florence
couple-
one night and Kernersville
Yeah,
the second.
Kernersville at one time. Yeah.
Now, didn't somebody go backstage at one of your shows and steal some stuff, like somebody's personal stuff, like necklaces and a jacket or something? I thought I read that
I don't remember that.
a handful of years ago. I didn't read that somewhere.
I can't remember.
Somebody, when people go backstage while you're on stage,
necklace and jacket tonight.
and they'll, and you know,
Especially my black glass one I wear all the
I
time.
mean, the fans
That
are
I
great.
found
But
backstage.
sometimes when they get drunk,
It's getting
they,
hot in here.
they
I
cross
thought it was
the
the other
line.
band the weekend before.
So, what's
I played Rockin' Jacks one night and had one of the best shows ever. Remember when Jackie had that club? And it was a wrestling show actually. And I walked out and somebody had took a key all the way down the side of my truck, all the way, like they were walking by and just.
I got my tire sliced one night.
Oh,
Brian?
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Lost a wheel on the way to a show.
Well, that was a mechanical
Picked a
error.
fine time
He
to
calls
leave
me and says, "You're not gonna believe this, but you got to come and get me. I
I was
lost
thinking the
a
same
wheel on my truck." I'm
He's
like,
like,
"What do you
"What?"
mean you lost a wheel?"
It came off. The whole wheel.
And I had to
came
go
off.
pick him up and go to the garage, and we barely made it back to the show.
Yeah, rock and roll, baby.
And I know you guys have got to have some funny stories, like on the way to a gig or on the way back or at the Waffle House or something like that. There's always like
Well, Todd's.
that one.
All of our funny stories were while we were on stage.
Yeah. we got-
Oh, the last week the guest told us that while they were playing, this guy came in, brought a practice amp up on stage,
this was
plugged in,
Florida.
and was trying to start playing with them
With
while
the
they were
band.
playing on stage.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's got to be the best story I've
That
ever
sounds like something happened to us at
There's
Riders.
some people right here that would do that if you let them.
Oh, especially yeah.
Yeah.
The people who,
on the lawnmower.
oh yeah.
Well, some of
Elvis.
these places have
There's a
minimal
lot
or
of
no
funny stories
security.
that's happened on stage. You don't really want to tell, but,
Oh yeah.
but like he said, some of the funniest stuff that's happened. You just be jamming, you you walk up on Donald Coons at the wrong time, you about to fall over, So we would do it on purpose, hey, let's go see what I can eat before the next show so I can get him back.
Oh god, yeah, that's
Yeah.
we call that the Chris Leslie
Yeah.
steak bomb. We'll be right back. We'll talk about everything, Dirty Surprise and Black Glass. When we come back, we got to get some of those stories, especially Donald Coons. We
Don't
haven't
change that channel.
We haven't messed with
It's the
him.
Charlie Over Todd Rock Show.
Yeah.
This is the Dirty Old Rock Show, and you're not.
Yeah, you're not.
That was a little Chevy Chase for you.
Yeah.
We're back with Todd and Charlie. And obviously Larry.
Larry's having fun.
Can't hear me back here.
So you've been a married gentleman now, Charlie, for how long?
17, 18, about 4 years.
Yeah, the long.
And Todd, you're married as well.
Coming up on 13.
Good
Wow.
Lord.
Valentine's
4
Day,
years,
13
June.
years.
Hell yeah.
Mine'll be 4 in June.
Cool.
Todd said. Charlie
think-
said
let
it
me
feels
see.
like 7.
Yeah, 4. Yeah.
That's cool.
You know, it's great. You guys are still in the area. Did you guys, when you were playing, did you go out of town a lot? Because a lot of people ask us, why do you guys go out of town so much, like South Carolina, Virginia? You guys, did you find when you were in rotation at a bar that, I don't know, maybe you were getting a little burned out, or maybe there was too much exposure, or anything like that?
You know, it had its goods and bads. I think that on Friday, like if you went,
After you've already
if
worked
we went
8-10 hours.
Florence and played down there at Murphy's,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it was like that Friday was but then then you get in there and play in a good crowd.
Oh,
It was fun to
God.
play in front of different people, be a different environment. But you know, there's nothing like home either. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it had its ups and
Remember
downs.
Dillon?
Yeah,
South
Dillon.
Carolina?
South
Oh
Carolina.
yeah.
Stables.
Stables. Yeah.
Then we
Oh,
went and played that
God.
place Sumter that week.
You mean where the
Crickets
changing room
after
was
every
the
song.
cotton
Yeah.
field out back?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. You know, you always kind of get pumped up for a new place, but
Yeah.
you always had that in the back of your mind. You know, is anybody gonna be there? Because they've never been there before. It's,
Yeah.
So far away, your loyals are not gonna follow you that far.
And we
Yeah.
find that a lot of clubs, they expect the band to draw
Yeah.
when you're in another town.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I
are
mean,
you
we've
gonna-
gone to play places and there's nothing on the marquee. Or we went to
Oh.
one place and it was
Myrtle
our
Beach.
name was up there from the last time we were there.
Yeah. And then they're like, "Well, where's y'all's crowd at?" I'm like, "Well, they're not going to drive
Where's
4
your
hours."
advertising?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We walked into a bar in South Carolina where we played at maybe a month and a half or so ago, and literally 10 minutes after we walked in, the manager come running in with all the posters and banners and stuff and put it up in the bathroom and all over the place.
I'm
And I'm
like,
like, dude,
That's
seriously?
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It should be about 50-50, I think.
Yeah.
50% band, 50%
Yeah.
venue.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
people should have a reason to want to go to that venue. Good atmosphere, good drink prices. If you got good food, whatever. And
Yeah.
the band.
And you know,
The band is kind of
club
like the
puts-
icing on the
And
cake.
club
Partnership.
puts good bands in there every weekend. I feel and has
And
great
that's
prices.
the problem.
But that's what's happened, in my
That's-
opinion. I
that's
think
the
over
problem
years, that's
around
what's
here.
happened. Yeah.
But I was also asking Jimmy about a place that we were talking about playing, and he said, "Oh, they don't pay anything, like $200 or $400, something like that, because they've gotten these other bands
And
that'll
they've
go
lost
in
their
and
ass.
pay that'll play for that $200,
Yeah.
$300, $400, and then the bands that have been in rotation for 10, 12, 15 years or more.
Well, we always
Are
say,
going-
"Do you know
Right,
Black
just
Glass?" And they're like, "Oh yeah." And I said, "Well, we're not them."
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And
but
they're
it
like,
makes
"Good."
the band look like an asshole. But people ask you, how come you guys don't play at such and such a bar? It's right around the corner of my house, and it makes the band look like an ass. Going, oh, well, they don't pay anything.
Yeah, they want you to play for the door. Come in
You know,
there.
you got all this PA and stuff. You got to.
I got too many years
I got a
invested. I'm
door.
not
I
playing.
got
for
$400
doors.
I don't need any
No,
room,
it's not
you
gonna
know.
happen.
So when you guys did the Dirty Surprise thing, let me change it just a second. You guys were suddenly in one of the the top 4 bands in this area, right? So you got to have some funny stories, like when y'all first got up and rolling, like at bandanas and.
Well, I wouldn't play
Anybody
bandanas. I wouldn't play it. When Richie kept calling me, and I wouldn't do it because all I'd heard was, again, I was young, still even
Yeah,
then, I
young
was
buck.
young. And I'd heard all these stories about everybody having guns and knives, and that was a shoot and stab, and all. If you
That
didn't have a
was-
gun, they would give you one when you walk in.
That was
And
true.
I didn't want to.
They
Well, then,
give you one.
Was
I
it
didn't
true?
see
It was
nothing else
$5
about it.
get in and 10 to get out.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, then all of a sudden, Todd was one that came to me and was like, "Hey, man, I ran into the Richie, and
We
he's
got to do it.
yeah, and he offered us, for what we were making at the time, he offered us more, and it was 2-nighter.
Yeah.
So you leave your gear up, and I was like, well, we'll try it. And I mean, it flew out of the roof for
Yeah.
us there. That just ended up being like our favorite
That
place
was
to
like
play.
our home.
Yeah, I
club.
came
Yeah,
in
I
one
mean-
night and I thought, it was packed to the rafters, man.
We've always just had a great time there. Had a lot of success there, but it was. I just wouldn't play it first.
So
Yeah,
how
it
long?
was-
Great. We could go back on Sunday and get our gear down if we
Yeah.
needed to,
Yeah.
and leave it up
Yeah.
all
That's
night.
what I like doing. If you play somewhere like out of town, you go back. If you got a motel room, you go back the next day around noon, 2, 3
Yeah.
o'clock, and just get
Yeah,
your gear.
it on all.
So how long was you had Dirty Surprise? Was Ben, Charlie, Todd, was it Donald?
Donald
And
Chris.
you had Chris
Chris
on
Farrell.
guitar at first.
Yeah.
Then you moved to Mike, right?
Right.
We had before Donald,
Well, Donald was Robert, and then before Robert was Ernie. Yeah.
I don't remember those guys.
But actually, that was when it first started. It was me, Ben, Chris, and Ernie, and then it was Robert, and then you came. Did you come in before?
No, I was there with Ernie.
Ernie? Okay, you was
Oh,
there
We
with
did
Ernie.
a couple of shows with
Yeah.
Ernie.
Then we brought in Robert, and then
And Donald.
Donald. Yeah.
So how long was that project? Because
That's
it's about a
what I
couple
was
years, right?
Yeah, like that, and then but with
About
us
2 or 3
five, it
years?
was that I don't remember how many years. Stayed that way for a long time before the transition from Chris to Mike.
Now, how did you like the last band you were like with, pretty much solid was Jacked Up, right? Which came from kind of 5 to 1, then transitioned into
Jacked Up, yeah.
Jacked Up,
Mhm.
yeah. So
But when I left Early Surprise, I was of course I was pretty much done. And Trey had called me about 2 or 3 weeks later.
which
I didn't
actually
want
was a
to.
perfect fit. Right?
Yeah, and I didn't want to play, and
It's
I
kind
just
of
told
like
him
you
that.
and Jackie
Yeah.
traded
Yeah.
bands for a
And a
while.
lot of people
and I
said
was
that.
like,
they thought that's what happened. I said, no, but that's the way it worked out. But that's not
Yeah,
what
it
happened.
worked out
yeah.
But I told him, I said, I didn't want to. Then back and forth. Then Frank from Plum Crazies was like, that's when he said, well, Trey, I talked to him. I said, well, first of all, at the time, I didn't know if I could sing The Journey in Kansas and Boston Sticks All Night he did.
Yeah.
Because, and that was a good thing, like with Todd and Donald, man, they could take over on vocals.
Yeah,
and like, there was a lot of songs we do. If I couldn't hit high note, Todd could hit it, and it was so that helped a lot. And I was
Yeah,
like,
I
I
call
don't know
that
how
guy
that,
Chris. in my
yeah,
book.
I don't know if how Jack, I don't know how 5 to 1 if Jackie. Every time I've been to see him, Jackie done all the singing. I was
Yeah,
like, man, I
yeah.
don't know if I could. I'm not Jackie. I can't
Yeah.
do that. Well, then they had a benefit show that we're going to play up at outside at a music store up in King. And he asked-
Shannon's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
yeah,
and Dre was
sure.
just like, we're going to do like 15 songs. We'd like to have you listen to. I just said, well, you know what, I'll do that to help y'all out. And then, like the 3rd or 4th song into it, I was like,
He was like, oh, this is
I
awesome.
was. It was really cool. So, but at the same time, they were like me. They didn't want to play all the time either, and so it
And
worked
all
out
those
good.
guys were veterans.
Yeah.
They'd already
Worked
done
out
the
good.
thing with Jackie for years.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, God, now we're starting another.
Yeah.
They were excited to have a guy that could do it.
Yeah, and we didn't know what was going to call the band name or nothing,
Yeah.
and it was just kind of we were practicing for the benefit. The only time we ever practiced, and they were doing the ending of I think it was TNT, that crazy ending.
Yeah.
And I just made a comment. I said they got done. I said, man, that's jacked up. Because we used to end it different for fun, the way
I
we
think
done
everybody
it.
does their
Yeah.
own little.
And I said, man, that was jacked up, and everybody just kind of looked up, and that's where it came from.
Yeah, that's cool.
I knew Trey. Most of my equipment early on, I bought from him. He was
He's a rep for
he was
somebody.
a salesman at that pawn shop. It used to be a shop in King, the Music Loft or something years
Oh,
ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's where I met him, and then he later transitioned to Winston Salem and worked at that music store behind Beatty's for a while.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I got
And I bought some gear from him there. So that's how long I've known Trey.
my second wireless. I drove all the way to his house.
Was
I think
it
it was in
Duncan?
Tobaccoville or something.
No, I cannot remember the name of it. I don't even want to know if the Music Loft was the one in King before it became Chinooks.
Yeah.
But I got a sticker on my somewhere of that store.
So,
Well, plus one of the reasons why when Trey kept asking me, I mean, he needed a lot of help with playing guitar, and I was like, well, I'm here for you,
and I had to
So I
work with
thought,
him
I'll-
also
I'll-
on the down low.
All right,
He
Trey,
didn't know
I'll
how to
help
do
you
a
out.
G.
He's got a little better,
Like, come
he's
on,
got a little
dude.
better. He's got to where he can play Skinner stuff a little better now.
He
His
plays
his
the-
tuning's
He
better.
plays the skin
Yeah,
flute too.
his skin flute. Yeah,
But-
What was that keyboard player's name?
Dave Barnes.
Oh God.
And then
No.
Roger Appen, I think he was.
Yeah,
a trip.
Roger
Boy,
was awesome,
Oh
too.
God, he was.
Speaking
fun.
of Rogers, anybody heard anything?
and Mitch
how
just
he's
goes.
been-
3-card Monty, is he still doing that?
Well,
I heard he had some
was.
health problems a while
He
back.
had some health issues
Oh,
with some.
don't we all have that?
Yeah, no
Well,
shit.
he had some cancer going on.
So how did after he was doing the jacked up thing, you had a project in between, and everybody knows now you're with Black Glass. What was the project, and how did you transition into Black Glass?
The goal was to just keep Dirty Surprise going until the end of the year, finish out those shows. That's when I called Jackie.
Oh yeah, okay, that's when everybody
And
started
he
saying,
brought,
"Did they switch?"
but he
Everybody thought it was just like
Yeah.
a switch.
brought Jimmy Shirley, and we were going to do half rock and half country.
Right,
Jimmy
which was
wanted to do the
a good
new
idea.
country. It was great,
Yeah.
and we kept it going.
It was different too, at the time.
Nobody else was doing it, and I actually started having fun. I'm not much on country, but some of this newer country.
It was transitioning to what
So
Jason
we did
Aldean
several
and-
shows. Jackie bowed out. We kept doing it with Jimmy, and then I kind of bowed out. I was out for 2 years, sitting at home.
God, that long?
And Richard, the Black Glass mascot,
Oh yeah.
Called
Oh
me.
yeah.
He calls me, Todd, what are you doing? I said, I'm sitting at home. You want to play music? And I said, yeah. He said, you need to call Ronnie Wright. Or Ronnie's going to call you, one or the other. And okay. Richard is the one that put the bug, because Ronnie had said, oh my gosh, I almost forgot about Todd.
Oh yeah.
And Ronnie called, and it was the weekend, my first show at Chuckwagon.
Oh, yeah.
Richard could not wait for me to be in that band. And he had to wait like 4-6 weeks. I was learning the songs. That Wednesday before is when he got killed on the motorcycle.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I remember getting up one morning on
So
Facebook.
you talk about somebody being asked to join one of the top rated bands in North and South Carolina, and then
When you hung up, did you
I
do
wanted them to know that they had made the right choice.
Yeah.
So I was trying to make a good, but at the same time, we're all sad. That was
The show must go on.
That was
Yeah,
my
it'd be hard
hardest
to get up there and rock
show
out.
ever to do
perform.
that show.
It really is. I mean, in Todd's, in his shoes, here's the guy who got you in the band,
And now he's
and now
not.
he passed 2 days
That
before.
was
so
a
it's gonna be
difficult
tough.
weekend.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
We've all, that's the thing, like you mentioned earlier about this, we've all played as long as we have, and it's just going to happen. And it just
Everybody's
seems like
got
more now,
somebody
as
that
you
they
get older.
knew.
Yeah, we're getting older,
Steve,
man.
yeah, man.
And like what just happened with George.
Ronnie
And
was
we all
more
played
like-
for George, and
There's a lot of people that have passed on. I'm going to go ahead and Brian thinks it's a little
2016.
But look at all the people that we've lost. And this is just a small list of all the people that passed away in 2016. Can you guys name all these people? Or does all these faces look familiar?
Prince, Gary
Muhammad
Shanley,
Ali,
Gene Wilder,
Abe Vigoda, yeah.
Leonard
Bowie,
Nimoy.
Gary
Lawrence
Marshall is
Anderson,
right next to David Bowie's Gary Marshall.
Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher,
China.
her mom, Debbie Reynolds,
Eagles.
Lemmy,
Yeah.
George Michael, Merle Haggard.
Yeah.
I don't know that guy.
That's a guy,
know
Ron
the
Glass.
face.
He was in Barney Miller.
He was in Barney Miller. I know the name. That's
And
that
Firefly.
young actor who was the new Chekhov.
Yeltsin
Oh,
was his
yeah.
last name. I can't remember
Leonard
his first name.
Nimoy,
Wow.
But that's just a small
Kenny
list.
Baker.
Yeah, from Star Wars. And,
I was just
and
looking to see if my picture was up there.
Yeah, I was worried.
I don't
myself.
remember it making the breakfast edition, but the lady on the right, that's Vera. I don't know her name,
From
but that's
Mel's
Vera
Diner?
from Alice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alice.
Yeah, Alice. I said Mel.
Bowie.
Who's this guy?
Gary
that's
Marshall.
Gary Marshall.
He, I think he
Happy
directed
Days,
Pretty
The
Woman.
Vernon Shirley.
2016, when all these celebrities and stuff started dying, it just makes me realize just how older I'm getting.
Hey,
No,
trust me.
And I start to realize
So
my
look, I don't
mortality
see
because when I was in my
Kardashians up there,
20s and
so-
early 30s, you're like bulletproof. You can eat anything, you can do anything, and then you start getting aches and pains.
Yeah.
And
That's,
you,
that
man, this-
scare I had
I might have put
recently
on a few,
with
I don't
my
know.
chest
Hey,
pain.
rounds of shape. I guess I just got it confused.
Me and
And-
Charlie, we have that physique going.
Yeah, that's right. Rounds
I
of
call
shape.
it the Jackie Wilson spread. We get.
did they admit you into the hospital?
That round I had with my chest pain.
Oh yeah, I forgot it.
It wound up just being high blood pressure. Wow. But went to the ER twice in 1 week. So,
I've
but
been
that and I have developed plantar fasciitis real bad in my left foot.
It's
So it's
beautiful.
painful.
Good God.
I got a bone spur in my left heel that happened years ago, and it was dormant for a while. And now we were playing Saturday night, man. I was trying to look cool. Nah, it hurt to walk on stage.
So I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do this. I guess I'll go maybe 2-3 more years.
How's the
until I have
knees
to
like when
retire.
you're loading in and loading
My
out?
knees aren't bad.
Yeah,
my
what is
back's
this
not
loading
bad.
you talking
My
about?
elbows and knees hurt me, but it's never been from loading in.
Yeah, I usually.
Yeah, because you guys sing.
I find that when you let the band
Singers
do
don't-
it, it's like it don't bother me as much.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I know you're the singer, but you could offer to, do this or
I'm
do that.
supervised.
Carry more than
Everybody's-
your microphone.
Everybody's setting up their gear, and Brian will be sitting over there on a chair, like,
Playing.
playing his acoustic guitar.
Well, Charlie was at the bar drinking and watching a basketball game.
I was trying to stay in good with the bartender.
I'm like, are y'all
Yeah,
not
yeah.
done? What
He was
network?
getting
What's
our,
it?
he was
Let's
getting
do
our
our-
free
the
drinks.
PR
lined
work.
up.
Somebody, yeah.
Somebody's got to do the PR work.
I'm like, what is?
Right.
I mean, chop. What is taking so long?
Yeah, I was brought to the stage. Hey, while you're up here, you could have brought me a Jaeger bomb. Okay.
I recently had an addictomy. I mean, I feel better
I
now.
was add a dick in you.
Yeah, we posted bail.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
he's saying.
Brian always saying that when we're over here setting up, he was like, "I'll be there. The show starts at 9. I'll be there at 8:55. I'll bring in the talent." So as soon as he hits the door, it's like, "You forgot it again."
Yeah. I'm like, the stars here.
That's what he does here.
Yeah. Somebody's got to do it.
So what you guys got coming up? I mean, like with Black Glass, for example, and then we'll come to Charlie.
Yeah, we're going to break. That's
We're
what
going to
one-
break right
yeah,
now?
That's what 1
Yeah.
minute meant.
Yeah,
We'll
we
be-
got a minute. No?
You know, we got a whole nother segment. We're going to find
we're
out.
talking for a minute. You
And
got
I want
3
some
seconds.
juice. When we come
Okay.
back, I want the juice, man. Not your juice or your man juice. I want the stories,
Oh,
man. I
Lord.
want to hear some Charlie Lilly passing out in the parking lot stories.
All right.
When we come back.
Todd will probably have a bunch of those.
If I can remember. Wait a minute.
And I want a good TK story, too,
And
because
Danielle, if you're listening, yes, we can see.
up his dress.
Yes.
We'll be right back after this with the Dirty Overhaul Rock Show.
Somebody scream!
reminiscing about the past. And speaking of the past, you guys, like you said, when you were playing, I mean, we could go on we could do a whole show about Black Glass now. I mean, they're fantastic. Everybody knows that Ronnie's one of the best ever. TK, one of the best ever.
Ronnie's all right.
Dave has modeled his whole career after TK. And so let's talk about. I mean, Charlie, back in the day, he was famous for two things: his vocals and his drinking ability. So
That's just one.
I'm sorry, the same thing. No. So you got to have some good either Todd drunk stories or some good Charlie stories back in the day. Because, see, we were playing out, and they'd be like, did you hear what Charlie did? He fell off stage or something. You know.
Well, you don't want to turn down drinks. You don't want to be rude.
Yeah, you don't want to,
And as many people as this man right here knows, everybody would bring him a shot.
He's the mayor of
But, you know, that was the reputation I got is, you know, hey, give Charlie drinks, he gets the buzz, he's funny as hell. You know, he'll change the lyrics of songs, he'll do this and do that.
But that's the entertainment.
Yeah.
That's
his
why
charm
I
and
always said
charismatic is what made.
That's why I've always said I wasn't a great singer. I was just an entertainer. I just had fun.
No, you were a great singer.
You get Jackie, Ronnie, those guys.
Yeah, they're great. But you were right up there with them.
Well, the good singers never think they are. You know, good guitar players, good.
I know a bunch of shitty ones who think they are.
Yeah.
The ones that constantly want to be better. Those are the ones that are really great. The ones that walk around talking about how good they are.
Right. Yeah. And that's him. Don't let him lie. When he talks about other guys and admires those guys and learns from those guys, he's good.
Well, if he didn't care, he wouldn't be trying to learn and be better.
Exactly right.
You know?
But that's what I told everybody. You know, when I went, so seeing you guys, if I'm gonna play out, I want to do it to the best of my ability. And if
we all
I
did.
believed in Mike. Mike Conley told me, he said, you know, go. If Brian, he said he's the best frontman out there. So Jackie's a phenomenal.
You don't know
singer.
how many people that I've heard. There's a certain gentleman who still plays now. That every time he gets a new singer, the first thing he does is say, we're going to go out and watch those guys, which kind of backfires because then they try to copy everything, and then you got 14 clone bands who are playing. Right. I can't do what you used to do.
That happened
I can't do what Jackie used to do. I can't do what Ronnie does. I have to do what I do with.
I go out and just be myself. You know, I mean, that's what I do. And anytime I've ever used a line of yours, you know, I say I got that from Brian.
Yeah, you did, man. I got to give it to you. I was
I consider myself a fill-in musician. I always have. I don't stand out because I can't play lead guitar.
Man. Come on.
I can't play lead guitar, and I don't do a lot of leads on the keyboards. You know, like that guy Dave.
Dave and Eric.
Dave and Eric.
Yeah. I
Eric
just
Maury
play
was
chords.
amazing.
But I make up for it with the high harmonies and stuff. I also do a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
But here's the thing about it.
Flyers and Photoshop, a lot of admin work.
But you've never been out of work. You've always worked. It's like when you want to be in a band, somebody always hires you.
Todd's a true professional, though.
Exactly.
What he's saying is he's a true professional when he makes the band better what he does. And he brings good gear to the show. He brings a good stage presence to the show.
He's always been an asset.
When you have something you bring to the table. And
he's a professional. He's a team player. You know,
so has there any been a time when y'all y'all have been less than professional that we can talk about?
I was that.
That's the dirt.
Well, that's the time that I was professional would be more easier for me to figure out than when I was. Yeah, I mean, you know, talking about Mike Conley, the story I told you before.
Yeah,
when I
we
was
all
young,
know Mike. We love
he
Mike.
He was determined that he was going to get me so drunk that I couldn't play the rest of the show. And
he did me too.
He shot after shot after shot after shot. Well, then I refused them from him after that. Well, he knows that if the customer brings me a drink, I feel like they pay for it, I got to have it. So he started buying them and giving the customers, here, take it for charge. And after the second set, I went to step off and they caught me. And I'm around the side of the building puking my guts out. And this cop pulls up that Mike knows, and Mike gets him to come over there, and he shines his light on me, starts talking to me, jumped to me through the microphone, you know. It was Mike. And Mike would not let them clean up the puke till I came up the next time sober and seen it. That was just, and he'll tell you that story to this day.
Frank used to send you shots at Plum Crazies, and Charlie's bill at the end of the night would be his cut. He would not make any money that
We call
night.
that Dave.
And I just drink them, you know. Then what do you mean 10 shots of Patron, $10 a piece?
He wouldn't give you a free shot for nothing.
We've had people call us from South Carolina when Dave was riding home with us and said, you forgot to pay your tab. I'm like, he didn't forget.
You
you don't remind me, I'm loading out. I ain't thought about
He
it.
knew. He just skipped out. That's
We're
sucker.
just out of here.
Yeah, if you don't remind me, that ain't my fault.
Yeah.
What?
I used to get a kick out of Sammy when 5
Oh, we got-
She used to get hammered, get all over the stage, and
We got a call coming in.
tables and stuff.
Take a call.
Any call.
Hey, it's the Dirty Overhaul Rock Show. Who we got on the phone?
What you was doing, having a goddamn over contest in there?
Who have we got on the phone?
Chris Earl.
Hey,
How
Harold!
you doing?
Oh my God. What's going on, man?
Son of a bitch! Son of a bitch! It's Chris Farrell!
Oh Lord.
So Chris, you know these handsome, outstanding young gentlemen in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, Charlie.
About time we get some damn talent in this room.
Do we have a Chris story?
Yeah. We
Oh
have a
my
good
God,
Chris
do we
story.
have a Chris story?
Oh,
Let's
Lord.
do it. Let's do it.
Oh man, I remember. All right, this is a great story on Chris
All right.
and Donald. We played a show at Bandanas, and we were going to have a band meeting. Well, at the time, I
I
lived
was
in a
not
condo.
drinking. I
I had a condo about a quarter of a mile from there, and then I had to go back up. There was bands playing all day, and we were like the headline. And I forget it was like an all day thing. So we went back to my condo, and we had our band meeting. Well, I had a bottle of Jack and something else there. And I had to leave to go back up there to meet with somebody. So I told them it's whatever, and don't, just lock up
Keep
when
him
you go.
sober.
Him and Donald Coons crawled in from the back. They come walking in, and I'm like, what the heck? Oh, it was funny. I mean, Donald was laying on the stage. Chris was laying on the stage. They were playing. So I get home 3:30, 4, 5, 7, whatever time I got home. My front door's open. Both bottles of liquor are empty. So one's sitting in my seat, one's sitting in my floor. Yeah, that was Chris Farrell.
I couldn't crash your shit, did
Yeah,
we?
he did. He crashed it, boy.
I did set your TV back up on
Yeah.
the stand.
Hey, Chris, have you got a good Charlie or Todd story?
I've got a good Ben story.
Oh, even
Oh.
better.
Let's pick on the guy that can't defend
Pick on the
himself.
guy
Even
that's not
better,
here.
Ben is gonna be on in 2 weeks.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he is.
You remember when we played at the Red Eye
Yeah.
years ago?
Not so fresh feeling.
Yeah. No.
That's brown eye.
Ben had a bath all day. He hadn't been able to take a
Yeah.
shower all day.
Had that not so fresh feeling.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
That's why I said that, Chris. I knew where you was going.
I'm going across the street. I get some baby wipes.
Get
Wipe off.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Ben would set up at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and so he could take a shower. You go back home and take a shower, get ready. He was something, boy.
That's the cleanest
He
Mexican.
was so clean. He was
Are
clean.
you sure he was Mexican?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, when we named the band, Ben wanted to name it Dirty Sanchez.
well, yeah. He gave a few in his
Yeah.
day.
You ready for a dirty surprise reunion, Chris?
That little faggot Justin Booker had me call y'all.
Oh, okay.
Just okay.
Yeah, usually when Chris calls, it's usually the trash Billy. So
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
yeah.
He didn't hear me.
Hey, Chris, you ready for a Dirty Surprise show?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, you heard it here first, folks, right here.
Todd,
right, Dirty Overhaul Rock
asked
Show.
me about it. And I said,
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Donald mentioned it to me the other day on Facebook. I said, "Hey, my Saturdays are open."
You might have to check with Todd.
I said, "You guys." I said, "You guys working out? I'm there. I mean, I don't have nothing holding
Charlie
me
said
back.
it's like a 10-minute ride for
Yeah,
him.
I don't have nothing on me back. I don't play anymore."
Hell yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, Black Glass, for example. I mean, you guys are kind of strung out everywhere.
We are.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
strung
yeah,
out.
strung
Yeah.
out.
We was back then.
So, I mean, Brian makes a lot of jokes about us not being able to practice. How does a Black Glass,
When you
when
guys
you're
are all
learning new
over the
material
place.
and
We talk about the songs during load-in,
Oh, we do
What would
that
be
too,
good?
but nothing ever happens.
and then we pick a
I never
venue
learned.
that has. We pick a venue that has in-house PA and lights, where we just bring in a back line, and we get there earlier than normal, and we run through the song. Everybody does their homework at home. and
Oh,
then you
God,
bring it
yeah,
in
we
and
don't
learn
do
it.
That's
that
the way,
either.
Jack. Every time we learn a song, we just learn it at sound check. We learn at
So
home.
you
and
guys
do it at
don't
sound
try to hurry as fast as you can to get through sound check so you can go eat? Because everybody has,
Try and get
because
something
everybody has
to
to
eat.
eat 12 times a
Go
fucking
drink more
day.
liquor.
more liquor.
I'm in a band that on the way to South Carolina has to eat 3 times at least before they get there every hour and a half. Maybe that's why Todd's skinny, Ronnie's skinny. Yeah.
Ronnie
TK's
eats
skinny.
protein bars all night long. That's all he eats.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit, if I knew that would help my boys like Ronnie.
Yeah, really.
I don't know how Scott Board does it, because Scott Board, from what I hear, eats boxes of these chocolate popsicles.
Fuddsicles.
Fuddsicles, yeah.
Yeah, the long ones.
He likes the long and brown.
That's who don't. What?
Hey,
Can you get rid of that?
erase that. I marked it. Erase
Hey,
that.
since Justin put you up to this, you got a good Justin story?
Who?
Yeah.
The drummer for Billy
Probably
Steele.
told you. Going about me coming from Macon. So damn drunk.
Yeah.
From Macon, Georgia, he told you that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's about the worst one.
How come
Okay.
all these stories about Chris involved when I was drunk as shit, when I was
Me and
drunk,
Chris
when I
went to
was drunk?
Bandanas one night to watch another band play, and me and him stood at the bar and got so hammered and got to doing all these antics, dances and
Oh, Chris
singing.
Farrell was
Yeah, me
dancing?
and Chris Farrell was doing all this stuff, and nobody in the bar was watching the band. They were all watching us.
Judging by the band, I
Yeah.
can believe that.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember me and
I
Chastity
can't remember
were
who was
there.
playing, but I remember. Oh, it was so funny.
ACDC.
Yeah, ACDC, yeah, that's it. Screw those
Brian
guys.
Johnson's like, what the fuck?
Screw those guys. We're watching Charlie and Chris.
Yeah.
Came all this way and they're watching these two fuckers.
Screw those guys. We're watching Charlie and Chris.
You probably don't know this, but when we finally did, you know, you were talking about us finally interviewing Ronnie. Well, Dave has to live with this one thing that he's
Oh,
lived
God.
with for the last
Oh, Lord.
7
Let's hear
years.
it. Let's hear it.
When we was interviewing
Yeah.
Ronnie, Dave, like when Ronnie walks up, Dave goes, Ronnie! So now every time Dave walks in, the whole band's like, Ronnie! Even to this day, it's like,
I didn't say it exactly.
yeah, he said it like
No,
that.
I
It was
think he
so
said it
queer.
exactly
I was
like
like,
that.
oh my God, Dave.
That's your man crush.
Yeah.
Every time I go see Black
Yeah,
Glass,
romance.
every time I go see Black Glass play, and Ronnie looks over at me after he gets a note, and I, fuck you, get my ass. People around me don't know what, and they're like, what's he doing that to him for?
I went
I
to go
just-
see the guys in Bad Romeo at
Never
Riders.
seen him.
And Joey, the
I know
singer,
Todd speaks out.
he kept trying to hand me the mic, and I'm looking at him like, one, no, I don't need to get up in the limelight. That's not my my thing. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not the singer either. But then there was a couple of guys that were singers in other bands
They were
right
like-
down front, and they were begging.
Don't you love that shit when
I
people...
was like, oh my God! And
That's
sometimes
like
it's
them. I
pathetic.
hate it. I hate.
Sometimes you go see these
This always
bands,
does.
and these other guys just annoy the crap out of
That's
you.
why I tell Brian, I tell Todd. I always, when I go see a band, I go to watch you guys.
There's only
I'm
about
not
3
Billy
guys
Crystal.
that I'll actually let. You know, I'm like, Charlie's one of them.
I'll
Yeah, Scott.
When we can get them in the club.
Scott, we sometimes, but Jackie, you know, there's
Yeah, oh,
3
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I'm like, I know these guys
Yeah.
are going to deliver. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, but you'd be surprised how many people come in. Like the
Remember
one guy,
the night we played somewhere in near High Point area? It might have been the old Big House, Tree House, what used to be now.
Oh, yeah.
English Road or something.
Oh yeah,
You let somebody up there to sing, and we were something decent. He sang, starts off with "Gonna Take a Freight Train." What's the name of that
going
song?
to can't you see?
Oh, that was up at the water park on
He-
Home Road. Chris, you remember that?
He was like an
Oh.
octave.
Yeah, he was.
I think
Right.
He was like 2
Oh.
octaves.
Is that Steve?
And then he turned and looked, and he turned and looked at the band like they were playing it wrong.
Like we were.
Y'all are making me look bad.
He's like, it's in F, motherfucker. Wow.
I was like, damn, y'all don't tune down that low for me, you fuckers. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I'm on the keyboard playing the song, and he starts, and I
He says
look over at him.
He said that, break it up, break it
Yeah,
up.
that was. I forgot about. That was over.
Brian
the
said a
water
guy
park.
came up to do a Judas Priest song, and he sang the whole song.
In the first verse. He sung verse, chorus, all in the first. And the song's still like halfway. That was Jimmy Henson.
Now I've repeated verses over and over and over again.
Oh,
so
God,
I
I've
can't
done
hammer
that
and
shit,
drunk
and
and
then I-
remember 'em.
And then I turned around and Chris is like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't even realize I did
Yeah,
it."
yeah.
Oh, you know, after you do this.
Funny story, Bandanas. We're playing on the anniversary show. We're playing the anniversary show for them. And Richie and Vanessa got up on stage, thanked everybody for coming, and I said, "Hello, y'all." I said, "Richie used to play in a band. Y'all want to hear him sing?" Everybody said, "Yeah." So it kicked off Bad Name. Well, Richie turns around. Well, back in the day when I do all the shots people give me, I keep a half-empty beer bottle. Sometimes I'd spit a shot or two in that beer bottle.
Oh,
If I
no.
didn't, I couldn't. He
Oh,
turns
no.
around. His mouth was dry and he's getting ready to sing the song. He turns around and takes a swallow.
Oh.
He's the one who taught me how to do that.
Oh.
The trick. He takes a swallow, and as soon as he took a swallow, he knew what it was. He run off the stage out the back door puking like that.
We played at John's Tavern, and I look over at Dennis, and he's got this look on his face like he's in trouble. And I'm like, what's wrong, man? He's like, I got a shit. And he said, and we're in the middle. We just started that Foreigner, Hot Blooded, right? He said, I got to shit now. And I said, well, what are we going to do? I mean, he's like, I got to go, man. He's like, hurry this. I mean, we did like maybe a 4-song set, and then he had to go shit and come back, and we had to finish. But
Chris Farrell done that one night. Chris Farrell done that one night. Chris Farrell done that one night at After Hours.
okay.
Chris Farrell done that at After Hours. He had to pee like crazy, and he just reaches down. Patrick Baxley, rest in peace, was standing in front of the stage. Chris just took his guitar off, handed it to him, and took off running to the bathroom. Patrick said, what the heck?
He's disappeared before.
Jimmy Henson's girlfriend, she went to the bathroom at Triangle, and these girls all ran in there and was fighting. Jimmy takes off his guitar, lays it down, and runs into the women's bathroom in the middle of a song to break up the fight to get Darlene out. I was like, we're kind of busy here, man. I mean, I hate to bother you, but yeah, this has been awesome, man. We've been wanting,
Thank you guys.
we've been wanting you guys forever, man, and
Glad to be here.
even Chris, we've been.
School of Rock.
Hey, who's the guy? Who's the guy on the phone?
Well, we got Mr. Chris Farrell on the line, and
I don't know who that guy is.
yeah, he's gay,
I
but we love
only
him.
know one question. Answer one question.
All right.
Why has Jimmy Henson never been on this?
Jimmy
They
said
have.
he's too big of a star for this shit. He said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy said he's gone to the beach and been on the pier, and people go, "Don't you play in Fair Warning?" I'm like,
It's either Jimmy Henson or Ricky Medlock. I don't know who he is. I mean, I have to look at him every time.
we call him John Bonamufasa.
Yeah. Somebody said,
Mufasa.
you know how the one guy said he plays like his fingers are blistering? We said Jimmy plays like his fingers are
Are
blistered.
blistered.
We give him hell. We give him hell, boy. I'm telling you. But
Oh,
this has been fantastic, man. Thank you, Charlie.
always.
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Todd.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you, guys.
From
Thank you,
undisclosed
Larry.
location in Jamestown, of course.
and thank you, the one and only Chris Farrell. We got to get him back on here because
Yeah,
because
he's
his
on the show.
Billy stories are like
Oh,
I could do an hour just on
I
that.
know, right?
See if Chris can pitch you out.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Before we leave, say, hey, you son bitches, you're listening to the Dirty Overhaul Rock Show.
Hey, you son of bitches, you listen to the Dirty Overhaul Rock Show.
Baby!